This is going to be another one of those unscripted videos I do from time to time because, quite frankly, I think it's warranted. Because there's a lot of stuff happening with Payday right now and in the past 2-3 weeks that I think warrants coverage, and at least I feel like I should throw my 2 cents in there. Why? Other than just like every other reason that a YouTuber does it, just to throw it out there. But as of today, as recording, the trailer for the First World Bank has been released for Payday 3, and it is magnificent. I think it's probably my favorite in-game trailer that they've done. Also, real quick, shout out to Little Guy G who helped make this trailer. These things have been awesome. I'm glad to see them. I love the whole direction of it. I love how it starts out very subtle. I love the homages to Payday the Heist with the poster and the positioning of the characters with their masks behind their back. I love the mocapped animations with the gang taking the civilians hostage. I do think that it's a shame that we don't have any specific lines, or at a bare minimum, we don't actually get to hear the First World Bank speech. Because if there's one, there's a few things on my checklist for First World Bank to be, you know, S+ tier as a Payday 3 heist. Because from what I've seen, they've really expanded it. They've really modified it in a way that makes it probably flow a bit better. Let's admit it, you know, First World Bank as a level isn't really the most clear bank. It's just sort of like a collection of rooms that don't really have too much connecting them tangentially to them being a bank. They did a better job updating that to Payday 2, but even still, it's not the greatest setup. But, you know, they've added areas. There's a big staircase that goes behind the teller's desk now. There's ATMs that you can now just bust open with a hammer, which rip saws and C4. But hopefully when they do add them, because I do think that they will probably add saws and C4 at some point, it's just going to be a speed tool. So you can use saws to bust open an ATM instantly compared to just smacking away at it with a ballpoint hammer. But as a heist, I think it looks great. I think it's very interesting to see all 4 tools of breaching being used. The thermal lance, the drill, the C4, the thermite. It's very fun to see it more or less kind of be, in my opinion, a celebration of all of Payday in its use and its tools within one bank. Because this is, in lore, this is almost going to be the 3rd or 4th time the Payday gang has robbed the First World Bank. Because there was the first time in Payday the Heist, the second time with Overdrill, and possibly Payday 2, and then definitely here again. So this is either the 3rd or 4th time if you count Payday 2 happening again. But speaking of Overdrill, it's not going to be present with First World Bank at launch. And some have theorized that it's going to be a completely different secret. I'm mixed about this. On one, you know, sort of this plays into the sort of, you know, the lower budget going into 2025, which I'll talk a little bit more about after this. But sort of parsing out DLC and content throughout 2025, which from everything it sounds like it's going to be a real shallow year for DLC and content. Hopefully we can get something a little interesting with First World Bank, which, seeing as that we don't have Overdrill at launch or even a secret at launch, we're going to have to figure that out in 2025 as per revealed in the dev blog video. That means that we're either going to just get Overdrill again, or we're going to get a completely different secret. I'm mixed, because on one hand, I think First World Bank is not First World Bank without Overdrill. And that's where I gotta butt in here and interrupt myself, because when I was about ready to upload this video, the Payday devs released their dev blog for this week and confirmed that the secret won't be Overdrill in 2025, citing reasons that Overdrill was not actually that often completed in runs of First World Bank, and if they're going to add a secret, they want something that can be done repeatedly, and what I'm guessing is a bit more easier to complete than Overdrill. I understand entirely where they're coming from. Overdrill in itself is a bit of a pain to coordinate, especially because it requires 4 people. But I stand by what I said in my previous recording. I think First World Bank is not First World Bank without Overdrill, so that really does bum me out in some respects. But as it is, I want to see what the new secret is, but at the same time, I miss Overdrill. And secondly, a new secret's neat, but at the same time, I'd like to do Overdrill in Payday 3. So, it's always been a sort of, pipe dream of mine, or at least my vision for Payday 3 is to be a perfect celebration and merging of Payday 1 and Payday 2, and just sort of celebrating what they both did. Because, Payday 2 redid the first heists in Payday the Heist with, more RNG, the vault can be on either side, fun things like that. And, of course, Payday 2 just brought Overdrill wholesale. And so a big pipe dream of mine is, like, maybe there can be a modifier in the future that lets us play the heist classically, so, maybe bring back Overdrill, or have, some more fixed RNG with, the vault on the left side, things like that. But, of course, that's what the older games are for. But my number one complaint with Payday as a franchise has always been sort of continuity. And real quick, about the music in the trailer, it doesn't quite grab me as much as the original track does. Gunmetal Grey, in my mind, is irreplaceable and inseparable from First World Bank as a heist. Nothing against this track, maybe I'll get more attached to it when the heist comes out, but to me, right now, to my ear, it's just not doing it. To me, it sounds like a weird mix between Ode to Greed and Breach of Security, but that's just me. And maybe one day we'll be able to have the OG version of Gunmetal Grey to play in Payday 3. Or maybe have Gustavo make a Gunmetal Grey 2024 or 2025. But that's nothing compared to what has happened in the past 2 weeks, or past 3 weeks or so. And that is, the Quarter 3 report has come out, and Starbreeze has said that going into 2025, Payday 3 is operating with a much lower budget, fewer staff. There's been a few layoffs at the company that they tried to not really talk about, but they really had to talk about it on live stream when the CEO came on, or interim CEO. And all this stuff with how they've moved staff around to Project Baxter, and how Starbreeze as a company is going all in on Baxter and putting Payday 3 on the back burner. And this is where I get to interrupt myself again, because Starbreeze announced that they're partnering with Krafton to make a Payday crossover game mode for PUBG. And they've announced that they are devoting 25% of their whole development team to that project, which has basically confirmed that Payday 3 is working on with a skeleton crew, since a majority of the studio is working on Project Baxter. I used to think before, maybe at worst, it wouldn't be something like this, but to have a whole quarter of your studio working on another game, it's just rubbing me all kinds of the wrong way about this whole deal. If you want to see a good video that basically sums this up a bit more eloquently, you can watch Noli or Red Archer Live, his video in the description. Yeah, this just boggles my mind on why they would do this. On one hand, I understand as a concept why they would do this. To, start working on someone else's game while your own is floundering off in the corner because you won't fund it. It's insane. And I like Payday 3, I can get into the loop, but I don't play it for probably quite as long as I did Payday 2, because it's just not there yet. And it can be. It's so close to being. It just needs more love. But it's just not there. It's not it. It's just, it's straight up, it's not it yet. It's not it. Trust me, the first year of Payday 3's launch and all that, I've come to terms that, the way that Starbreeze is funding projects, they're making moves like they're this big billion-dollar company like a Ubisoft or an EA or an Activision. They're making all these moves when they're a tiny, tiny studio in comparison to the rest of the world. So it just boggles my mind why they're spreading themselves so thin, and why every single move they've done to finance projects, they've put Payday 3 on the back burner, and they're one step away from writing Payday 3 off as a loss, and then just killing off the franchise. But here's the deal, they can't really kill off the franchise because it's been their moneymaker. It's been their only reliable moneymaker. So, to basically say every time they've said, oh, Payday 3 is our flagship, Payday is our go-to, our golden child, we're supporting it all the way. But then every single action they've done has been the exact opposite. I don't know. I really don't like it. I don't think this is the move right now. I definitely don't think having a skeleton crew working on Payday 3 is the move right now. Because trust me, all it takes to get gamers and players, the people who have money that you want to get that money from, to go for your game is that you just need to prove that it's worth playing. And right now, Payday 3 is not there. And this whole move to work with PUBG of all things, trust me, I'll speak frankly, PUBG is not where it used to be. It's not the biggest game in the world, especially in, I'd say, the Western world, but it does have a lot of dedicated fans in Asia. So, to me, if anything, this move sounds like Starbreeze trying to go out whaling, if you know what I mean, trying to get some more people to spend money on them. But to me, this whole thing sounds misguided, and I understand why they want to do it. They want to get some money, they want to put the word of Payday out there, and that they should not be looking outward to try to find people to spend money on them, but instead look inward, focus on self-improvement with Payday 3, and then the people will come. It's very disheartening to see that, this company, which, in every other sense they've said, oh no, we love Payday, Payday's our brand, we're going to support Payday, but at the same time trying to put a majority of its efforts onto Project Baxter, trying to cut funding where they can, including cutting costs by having less employees. This whole thing has just rubbed me the wrong way. Enough said. I've been streaming on Twitch, so if you haven't caught any of my live streams, I like to stream with my friends, and we're live most days, so go ahead and stop on by, give me a follow if you want. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for now. I'm gonna go. See you guys.